Hi everyone. So I just finished my latest Hermione read, which is Measure of a Man by Inadaze22. I am gobsmacked. I'm still recovering. I feel like I'm going to be in a slump for a while. My God, what a masterpiece. Let's get into it. Okay, so what I love about a good fan fiction is this. As within any type of genre fiction, it's an opportunity to use a created world to convey something specific that author feels strongly about and wants to say. And in good fan fiction specifically, it's the opportunity to take this like blank coloring book of these characters and to just fill them with complexities and realities as the author sees it. And I believe that when genre fiction can do both those things, it elevates itself into literary fiction. I'm not trying to sound snooty or pretentious. I want to convey that this book, this fiction, is literary fiction. Color me impressed. Wow. So the author of this fic, I believe she is a published author, and I gathered hints on who she might be, but I couldn't confirm her actual identity. Occasionally I thought, wow, this person's in politics, or maybe a doctor, or a researcher, definitely a gardener, possibly a therapist, definitely a daughter of someone with dementia, and definitely a parent. Because honestly, if she isn't those things, I mean, I'm super impressed at her ability to write accurately all of those things. So the whole fiction is in Hermione's point of view. It's about 13 years past the war. Despite Voldemort being gone, the Death Eaters that are remaining are still kind of hovering in the periphery, trying to organize, kind of being a threat. And the political weakness as well as the corruption in the Wizengamot has enabled this. The reason that I'm now calling into question my pronunciation of things is because I actually listened to this fic on audiobook. I discovered that this fic is on Spotify, being read by this woman whose account is called SEP Fanfic. I really recommend this. She's done other books. She read beautifully. It was really nice to have one of these as an audiobook, so I recommend that. Hermione had worked for the ministry, but she had like given herself seizures overworking herself as she's wont to do. So she left to become a healer at St. Mungo's. Then she took a job working for Theo, who used his family's fortune to kind of create an specialized institute for people with mental health and other less physical issues. So her life is quiet and content. She lives in the country. She has a beautiful home where she gardens. Gardening is like a huge part of this book. Her best friends, this friend group was everything. Ginny, Pansy, Daphne, Padma, Susan, and Cho. They often get together for girls' night, and their group friendship just gave me so many beautiful feels, and it made me so jealous. I really wanted to be part of this friend group. Amazing. Even her parents are back in England, so while her relationship with them is still kind of tentative, it's improving. So like things are fine. Her life is fine, but everyone just sort of believes that she needs more. This is one of those where like everybody's always telling her what she should do with her life, and then are surprised when they ask her what she wants and she doesn't know. That was sort of something that bothered me, but not because I didn't think that was realistic, because it is. That's how people are. But I just felt really bad for her in a lot of those situations. So one day Theo calls her in and asks her to take on one particular case that would become her sole focus for years, or until the person, who is a declining patient with dementia, eventually passes on. She learns that the person is Narcissa Malfoy. And initially she turns this down for many various reasons, but she starts to care about the case, both because of Narcissa and also on an academic level, so she finally agrees. And she and Draco initially re-encounter each other in this fic. They're really nothing to each other. There's no past pining. They didn't like have crushes on each other. They are old enough to be over the, childish grudges, but they don't really have any feelings towards each other. And I have to say, I kind of liked that blank foundation. Interesting. So Draco had married Astoria Greengrass in like a kind of pure blood duty reason type of marriage. And while they'd been friends, they never really like loved each other, but they had a son, Scorpius. But Astoria had passed away from a blood illness, leaving her son and her husband lost. Draco had then sort of turned over daily care of Scorpius to his mother, Narcissa, who kind of like had an iron hand, wanting to strengthen Scorpius due to what she knows is a cruel world, but Scorpius wasn't getting a lot of love in his life. Enter Hermione. She endeavors to flip the Malfoys' lives, beliefs, traditions, all upside down in an admittedly self-righteous kind of way, but with good intentions to kind of save Scorpius, who is now 5 and doesn't speak since the death of his mother, and who Hermione is quickly falling in love with, as are we, the reader. So this fic is great for multiple reasons. But the Scorpius of this fic absolutely ran away with my heart. I've said this before, I don't think children are often written well or accurately, and that often really bothers me. This might be the most accurate representation of a 5-year-old in the midst of a mental health crisis that I've ever read. I cried so much while reading this, and mostly because of him. This is a slow burn. It's extremely long, but this might be the most incredible character growth and complexity I've ever seen in a fic. Both Hermione and Draco have to completely come to terms with every part of themselves, every flaw, and they have many. They have to rebuild their ideas, their preconceived notions, their priorities, all to find their way to each other and to form this family that is honestly so beautiful. All of the relationships in this fic are complex and beautiful. Narcissa's relationships with Hermione and her relationship with Draco and then with Scorpius, amazing. The father-son dynamic between Draco and Scorpius, Hermione and Scorpius, Scorpius and Albus, who is also an extremely accurately written 5-year-old, very different from Scorpius, but accurate. Draco and Harry's relationship, Hermione and her own parents, Hermione and all of her girlfriends, and even the other couples, Pansy and Percy, who I love to see together, very mature, Blaise and Padma, Susan and Ron, Cho and Theo. This is not fluff. It is not. This is the stuff of real human relationships, and while it has a happy ending, there's a lot of sadness and self-exploration and all these things in it that just make it really stunning. I'm going to do some leaves because there's so much gardening in this book. There's also this added presence in this fic of the story of political corruption within the Wizengamot and the weakness of the Ministry that I thought was pretty remarkable and definitely timely and hit kind of close to home. As much as this is a character study, there's definitely a plot and some exciting moments. However, if you are looking for like an action-packed, canon-heavy good time, this isn't it. If you're looking for Toxic Draco and Bamf Hermione, this isn't it. If you are, however, looking to be moved, if you want real, amazingly written characters, if you love growth mindset Hermione and Draco, if you love Draco as a single dad, if you love a quiet but super realistic love story that ends in a couple you are certain will last forever, this is your girl. Okay, well, it kind of looks like teardrops, not leaves, but whatever. You get the idea. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.